Hi, my name is Alexander Vinogradov and today I will present my thoughts concerning psychologically active situational ingredients. Unfortunately, my English is quite rusty, so I decided to use text-to-speech software to be more understandable. I apologize for this. Early in my career as an organizational psychologist, I encountered a phenomenon that intrigued me a lot. When responding to personality tests, my subjects frequently faced difficulties choosing a single option. They explained to me that their behavior was highly dependent on the circumstances. They told me, "It depends on the situation." Sure, I knew what I should do in such a complicated situation. According to the usual test instruction, the administrator should ask participants to report their most frequent behavior. However, I felt that something was wrong. I refused to listen to additional important information about the person, which he was eager to convey to me, pointing out the imperfection of my measuring instrument. Why does this phenomenon occur in the first place? Let's look at a specific example. Would be afraid to give a speech in public, which is item Q45 from International Personality Item Pool. It is a concise statement of a stimulus-response type. The stimulus part of it describes a situation of public speaking in quite general terms. The response part proposes to describe the reaction to the situation in terms of the emotion of fright. The abstract description of the circumstances may embrace quite different situations. The psychological literature on stage fright suggests that public speaking situations may differ in various psychologically active features such as audience size, audience familiarity, the importance of consequences to the speaker, and many more. These additional features of the situation are called situational ingredients, and they can have varying degrees of salience to individuals. We can assess the individual salience of various situational ingredients using so-called highly repeated within subjects research design, Shoda, 2003. Using the three aforementioned attributes with a dichotomous scale, we can construct 8 more specific situations of public speaking. The last column of the table contains answers of a real research participant, male, 21 years old, to these situations on a scale of stage fright intensity from 0 to 8. As we can see, there is a considerable variation of stage fright of the individual. Applying the conjoint analysis to his data, we can estimate the impact of situational features on the intensity of stage fright. Clearly, the most important situational features are consequences of speech and audience familiarity because they explain the most part of intensity variation. Arguably, the participant would nominate them himself when answering the original abstract question. Unfortunately, highly repeated within subjects research design becomes too time-consuming and boring to participants when the number of situational features increases. And there is no guarantee that situational ingredients pre-selected by the researcher will be important to every participant. To my mind, we should allow participants to select the option depends on the situation and nominate those psychologically active situational ingredients that modify their behavior. Current study. 189 participants, 69% females, average age 40 years. Answered a brief measure of the Big 5 personality domains TP, 10-item personality inventory, using the following response scale: definitely yes, depends on the situation, definitely no. Test instruction encouraged participants to nominate situational features that mediate their personality traits expression if they selected middle option. As you can see, the option depends on the situation was selected by a fairly large proportion of respondents, from a quarter, openness to experience, to almost half of the sample, extroversion, despite the much greater cognitive load due to the need to provide textual commentary. It should also be noted that many of the respondents also provided situational clarifications, choosing the dispositional answer, from 3.7% to 10.6%. This is consistent with the hypothesis of L. Goldberg, who suggested that respondents even dispositional alternatives may consider in terms of situational specificity. Answers to the open-ended questions concerning situational features that differentiated individual behavior were very revealing. For instance, these are grouped responses to the TP item: I am dependable, self-disciplined. 1. when the situation is subjectively important for the respondent due to material interest, or is critical and may have serious consequences. 2. When it concerns job responsibilities. 3. When the respondent feels responsible to important people or there is a prior agreement. 4. When the respondent believes that his or her actions will really affect the situation or will benefit it. 5. When his or her reputation depends on the results of actions. 6. When there is a possibility of punishment or condemnation. 7. When it comes to punctuality or order. 8. When the load does not exceed the respondent's ability. 9. When the respondent has adequate experience. 10. When the respondent has inspiration. Conclusions. 1. The study showed that respondents easily provide additional useful information about themselves, which is usually ignored by researchers. 2. Situational clarifications allow us to understand active ingredients of situations that act as factors of intra-individual variability of behavior. 3. Situational clarifications give us the opportunity to explain the mechanisms of interaction of personal variables at the level of a particular person. 4. A set of situational clarifications can be useful for understanding interpretations of personality test items. The similarity of the semantic fields for test items may explain their correlation. 5. The technique of situational clarifications can also serve as a means of generating items for traditional personality questionnaires or structured interviews. 6. Cross-cultural studies are needed to identify commonalities and differences in psychologically active situational ingredients.